Pop-Up Studio Step 2024. It's a busy afternoon, lots of guests, and we're having another amazing attendee and the guest, Lucy Chow. Thank you very much for passing by Pop-Up Studio today. You've just finished your panel.
Yes.
Must be feeling very excited about it. I want to talk about a lot of things, Lucy. So thank you very much for making it for us. So tell me, what was your panel, first of all?
It was a fabulous panel. It was talking about early stage investing and how to mitigate risks. And that's a really tricky topic. As one of the other speakers mentioned, it's inherent when you invest that early that you're going to lose money. And so it's you have to know as an investor you're going to lose money. But as we always say, when you invest early, the payoffs can be great, and that's what you're compensated for taking those risks.
Interesting. But Lucy, tell me, you've been working really hard towards attracting not just investments, but attracting women.
Yeah.
Coming into an investment space. Can you talk about it a little bit?
No, this is a big passion project of mine, and not just a passion project, it's actually really necessary for the world because, as we know, there's still less than 2% of VC money that goes to female founders. So then we realized we needed to try to do something on the other side and to change who was making the decisions, who was writing the checks. So we find that if there's women that are writing the checks, the chances of female investors or diverse teams getting invested in is greater. So we need to have more women comfortable writing their first angel investment check. So 2022 Female Angels is an awesome organization that's based here, that I'm a strategic advisor to. Some of the hands-on things that we're putting together are pitch nights. We just had our third one the other day. And so I always say to women, get involved in the actual ecosystem. Come to an event like STEP. Go to pitch nights. Get immersed in the startup scene so that you feel comfortable asking the right questions before you write that check.
Interesting. What needs to be done for women to get more comfortable with that?
Like anything, women really want to feel like they are 110% prepared. So they want to be taught, they want to take the courses, they want to be taught due diligence. How do I make sure that I'm investing in the right company? So we also do that. We also offer courses. We partner with many people in the startup ecosystem here in the UAE to offer more information. And so there just needs to be access, because women are not always asked to write the checks. So then they just need to be shown the deals and the opportunity so at those pitch nights, and we had a really successful one, the second one, where the women just go up to each person that pitches and they do their own deal. They close the deal themselves.
Right.
And this happened in our second one.
And what was the major, let's say, learning out of this exercise? What did you find? What is the major challenge that usually prevents women from doing so? And how this exercise helped you to, let's say, reveal what needs to be done to help them?
Yeah, no, that's a fabulous question. I mean, I guess one thing is we all work hard for our money. So the ticket size needs to be palatable, especially for young female investors.
Yeah.
Right? We need to make sure that we're not putting up too high a hurdle. So for many angel networks, for instance in the US, you have to write a check of $25,000 or more. If there's some mechanical way that we can say, okay, invest $5,000, invest $10,000, and you start slow, because again, it's very risky. You can totally lose all that money. So again, it's coming up with opportunities for women to be put in touch with founders that are willing to take those small checks.
That's right. That's right. So it's more about how to build this ecosystem that also supports women to get more comfortable.
Yeah.
And women do not like take risks as much, right?
Someone chewed me out for saying this, but I'm going to say it again. So I say that women are not risk averse; they're risk aware. And then someone said, "Oh, well, that's just semantics," but it is being risk aware. You're just wanting to make sure that we probably are not like shoot from the hip
That's true.
immediately. We just want to, and actually, this is some of the learning points we talked about in that panel. You really need to know the founders, and some of the investors said that they like knew founders for 4 years before they invested.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing to be risk aware.
That's true. I mean, it helps you to be more cautious about, not cautious, but actually more self-aware about what you're doing and what you're prepared to handle, right?
Yes.
Even from emotions perspective.
And actually, Lara, you just reminded me a very important statistic. Women-founded companies or mixed, diverse team-founded companies perform better than all male-founded companies. It's a fact.
Right.
Statistically, it's a fact. You can find all the data on that, and it still pains me that if we're investors, we care about the money. So if we see that this is a fact and it's statistically proven, why are not more people investing in diverse teams and women founders?
That's right. No, there are a lot of things that you probably have learned out of your journey. I wanted to ask you about something on top of that. You've got a pretty strong media brand. Like when you start researching your profile, it pops up in definitely very strong traditional media sort of channels and sources, but you're also you've got your story told.
Right.
That's how I hold. How did building your media brand, your personal brand, help you to promote the message about attracting more women into the investment space? Talking about gender equality, etc., etc. How did that help?
I was really fortunate that there was a fabulous. She's the CEO. Reem is the CEO of Dubai On Demand. She's also the executive producer now of Dubai One TV, and she was like, you should put together a video series about your investing knowledge. And I was like, but there's so much of that out there. Why would anyone listen to me? And I guess her whole point is that everyone has a voice and that we will attract different audiences, which is true, right? This is what we can see with podcasts, for instance. And it was because of her pushing me that I started sharing out my knowledge. And I think it resonated with a group of people. And then I use LinkedIn as a very strong platform, something that I'm very comfortable with. And I just put out what I find interesting myself and that I feel leaders or CEOs or any business person needs to stay on top of. So, here we're really lucky. We can access events like STEP almost every week.
Yeah.
And not everyone can, so I'm very happy to share out all my learnings. And I think there's people that resonate with that.
Absolutely. So how long was this journey of building your sort of media presence?
I'm trying to remember, when did I start the video series?
The very first.
I think it probably would have been maybe 6 years ago, so not super long. But again, one of the things, in MENA, everything is quite new. So even podcasts, you can quickly go to the top because it's not as saturated as Europe or North America.
No, definitely the regional podcasting is blooming, and just because I think this region does need a lot of great creators and a lot of stories to be told, a lot of stories to be had, and I agree, absolutely agree with podcasting. But coming back, let's say, to your media presence and how it evolved, for example, did you start sharing your initial content, let's say your initial message? What was it and how has it evolved over the 6 years?
So a lot of it initially was interviewing entrepreneurs, because that was what I was advocating for, more funds going to entrepreneurs. So not just female entrepreneurs, all entrepreneurs. And I think it was fairly new at the time. I guess I should have stuck with it because people want to learn from people before them, especially startups. And then I was already being tapped to speak at conferences. But I think one of the unique things also that we need to keep in mind is that you can be a knowledge, an expert, not an expert, but you can be knowledgeable in many different things here.
Yeah.
Because again, we're exposed to so much here. And so it started with women advocacy, which crosses into everything I do, right? It could be women on boards, it could be more female entrepreneurs, it could be more women funding female entrepreneurs. So I'm known for female advocacy.
Yeah.
And then I wrote a book, Changing the Game, and that's all about the esports and gaming space.
Really?
And so that also has all the things that I find valuable in it. It's really important that we understand there's a lot of women in this space. It's also very important to know that it doesn't matter who you are, and this is why I wrote the book. It doesn't matter who you are, what hat you wear, there is space and a reason why we should be looking at esports and gaming.
Interesting. I wanted to talk specifically about changing the game and women in the game. So that's your recent kind of
Yes.
choice of the message. So you got into a gaming industry, a gaming probably investments. How did you come there? Why do you
Yes.
think this is relevant now? And
No, I mean, it started really was my son, and at the same time I was like looking and attending a lot of conferences about gaming and esports. I wanted to understand the segment a lot more as an investor too. And a good friend was also building up a huge gaming business. It's become really large now. And so I was getting all this information, and it was at one of these conferences I was like, wait a minute, and all these thought leaders from all over the world were speaking. And I was like, wait a minute, this applies to everyone. But not everyone has time to come to this conference. Someone should write a book. And I was like, wait a minute, that should be me, because I'm not someone you would think is in the gaming and esports scene, but the whole message is that it's all about future-proofing ourselves. It's all about the future of work, and why it's relevant to all of us.
so how can we tackle the gaming industry like on each and every individual basis?
So in the book, there's 38 authors, and I tapped experts from all around the world. They cross a whole bunch of age ranges, a whole bunch of it's incredibly diverse, and it's geographically diverse. There's like 5 continents represented. So when you read the book, you can just read 1 or 2 chapters, and you'll be like, oh, I get it now. I see why it's relevant to me. And it might be the section on investing in games. It might be the section about women in games. It might be the section about games and education. Or the future of gaming. There's something for everyone, so that you can see, okay, maybe as a brand, because you talk about brands a lot, I really am missing the boat if I am not putting my brand in a game.
In the gaming industry. No, just this morning I think we had an episode and a conversation that, in fact, for example, for podcasters, one of the biggest issue is discoverability of a podcast, and partnerships with the gaming industry can help discover certain podcasts and topics much
Love
faster.
it. That's a fabulous example. And so the point being that gaming and people watching esports is the eyeballs are larger than the entertainment, the movie industry, and the sports industry combined. So we cannot afford to ignore that industry. And so you will be discoverable, guarantee, because there's just so much engagement in esports.
I think it's just not an easy one to tackle, right? Because because games they're enormous. There are so many different ways, different games, how they're played, and it's just it's a totally parallel world to me.
Yes.
Look at my child who plays.
Yes, I love what you're saying, but because there are so many different types of games, you will be able to find ones that resonate with you, And people don't realize that there's so many different genres of games, or maybe you do, it sounds like. But then you're like, okay, well, my podcast matches with ambient games. And ambient games are where you can go and walk in the forest, and it's not a first-person shooter game. It's nothing like that. It's where people can like grow farms and or have a farm and like grow vegetables. There's 125 agricultural games out there, maybe more as we speak, being developed. So there is definitely a space for everyone. And again, just like I said, to delve into the entrepreneurial startup space, just start delving into the gaming space, and then you'll start meeting all the different people in that sector.
That's amazing. How do you usually discover the topics and the trends to go into? Does it relate to your life? Even if we look at the beginning of your journey and your gender parity, women empowerment kind of topics, was it something that resonated with your particular journey, or something that you learned from your journey that you wanted to bring out?
I think it was both, because I was a banker for a long time in a male-dominated industry, and I wasn't savvy, Lara. I wasn't savvy where I went and found a mentor, or more importantly, a sponsor. I tell everyone to find a sponsor. Yeah. And a sponsor is someone that speaks your name when you're not there, right? Oh, this job's up for promotion, or this job's up. It should be Lucy Chow. I never was savvy enough to navigate the corporate world that way. So I guess I started with a lot of it was 85 Broads, which is a fabulous global network, and it was women in finance. But it's a great network of women in the business world. And they started chapters in university where women who want to go into finance, were mentored also. There's many components to that organization.
Right, yeah.
And then people just saw me as someone that they could approach about this topic. That's how the angel investing and investing in female founders started. And then as I grow also in my career, women on boards became a very important thing for myself. Then it also became something that I wanted to advocate for, also more women on boards.
How difficult or easy for you to make that transition from one topic to another, or do you combine them? And how is things like, since we're talking media a lot, we're talking storytelling, content and marketing as well, because it's very relevant for startups, how certain marketing campaigns or storytelling, let's say, are helping you to do that?
Yeah, no, storytelling is it's the only way to go, right? Because that's the only way you're going to bond and find an audience with other people. And I think very similar to someone like yourself, you have to be intellectually curious to see what's going on and talk to a lot of people. And as you talk to more people, your knowledge expands, right? And if you can parse that into something digestible, because not everyone has the time to right? And so you're doing that through your podcast. But I guess I found that I was doing that through maybe LinkedIn, or just sharing out any knowledge that I was gaining that I felt was relevant for other people to understand.
And so what helps you to keep consistency, let's say, over things like LinkedIn, at least considering the amount of networking you're probably doing in your everyday life? So what helps you to keep consistency?
I honestly just, because again, I'm fortunate enough to attend a lot of interesting events or knowledge events. I try to share out immediately, right, once I'm back at my desk, what I've learned. I don't really have a social media team. I have one person that helps me, but I do all the content myself. So I think it has to. I can tell if it's not my voice, then people can tell it's not me. So I think it has to be my voice.
I genuinely, I don't know, the right way would be adore, but I get impressed with people who are managing their own content and are managing to stay consistent, because it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy, but for some people, I find I mean, that's the only way how they move forward, and
Yeah.
it keeps them motivated because they get response.
That's so true. And so I was told a long time ago, so you are obviously someone that can think and speak on your feet really quickly. I don't think I'm that person, but a long time ago I was told if you like to write, then LinkedIn is your platform. And I do like to write. And so then that's worked. Of course, now I love Instagram. I mean, who doesn't love that instantaneous, pop up a picture and put a caption on it? That's amazing. But anyways, I think as long as we find the channel that best suits our personality.
That's true. Have you ever sort of podcast, and what do you think? How podcasting are helping people in growing their media stories? What do you think?
The most knowledgeable people I know are ones that consume podcasts on a daily basis.
Do you consume any podcasts?
I don't, and not enough, and I should on my daily commute. So I think that needs to be my new thing. Yeah.
I think, I'm advocating podcast production, definitely, but my question to you was not primarily to sort of encourage it, because you've got your own formats where you rate, correct?
Right.
So like writing a book, promoting things on, or advocating things on LinkedIn, let's say, and that's you also have got a number of really great articles that I came across.
Oh, thank you.
On traditional media sources, yes. So, and that's also a way, and also you've got conferences, right?
Yes, absolutely. We're so lucky here that we've got all this. So I'm really grateful that you asked me to be with you today, because I do really value the podcast medium.
Have you ever had a chance to interview anybody as a host?
Yeah, so I did that. So this was where I first started with the videos. And so it was me interviewing all the entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So it wasn't a podcast, it was a physical video. But now I'm thinking, like, podcasts, it would just be it would be quicker. I could just get through more people quicker.
Podcasting is a definitely great platform to build relationship.
Yeah.
That is surely a thing to build relationship, and especially when you know exactly who you want to connect to, let's say, to strengthen a certain niche. That is definitely a thing.
And I'll be very honest, and sometimes the barrier is people thinking, okay, what equipment do I need, and blah, blah, blah. But then you have fabulous venues like Foster, where you don't have to worry about that, and you've got all the tech team there. I really love that setup.
No, that's definitely great if you consider Podstar. Lucy, if you were to your, let's say, to get that one or two messages coming through after step 2024, related to your, to the topics that you're advocating after, what would be those messages for this year? What would that be?
I think it would be invest. Okay, so start investing, because that's the only way you're going to learn as an investor, and that actually, like, one of the most rewarding things is being an investor, because you really get to know the entrepreneurs. And you help people realize their ambitions and their journeys. That's by far one of the things I get the most out of. Do we want to make money? Absolutely. But yeah, so action point, start investing.
How to find the right, or probably at least the niches where to invest? What's popular? What's trendy?
No, and again, that's where actually that was one of my questions that I was giving on the panel. How do you stay current? And I talked about specific data points. I talked about looking at government policy, especially in the MENA region. I talked about industry research, and I also talked essentially consumer behavior. So if you're just kind of like having an ear out for all of these different things, it will give you an idea of what's trending and what's going to be the next big thing to be investing in. But just coming to an event like STEP gives you huge insights.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So investing is start investing. That is the first
Start
recommendation.
investing.
Yes. Anything else?
And so because I spend a lot of time talking about the region, we have so much that that comes from the outside here, and we're really lucky that people start to decide to use the UAE as their base. So I would also say not so as an individual start investing, but to bigger funds. To really allocate a portion of their portfolio to investing in their own backyard. And it could be a family office also. That's really important because otherwise, we're going to be a place that is really open to bringing in entrepreneurs, but then they're going to very quickly go to Silicon Valley or whatever because that's where they can raise their money faster.
Yeah.
And then we'll lose them.
Right. And any word of encouragement, any words of wisdom from you to the audience who's going to listen to that?
I guess in terms of words of wisdom, if we're talking about branding yourself, this is a great topic. I've really enjoyed talking to you. I think, you just have to see what's the medium that you resonate with the most. And just try it. You have to just go out there and try. And there's organizations that help you kind of get a leg up, right? That teach you media training, that teach you how to be a reporter. So I talked about Dubai On Demand. They're fabulous. So just seek out those sort of opportunities when you can.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great recommendation. And thank you so much for this short but very insightful conversation. And I suggest we need to repeat this conversation again. Not this particular, but we can get it in a regular podcast studio.
I would
definitely.
love that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can talk a lot more about, the media brands, probably content creation, and
specific case studies that have done well. In games, for instance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, lovely meeting you, Lucy, and thank you very much for passing by Poster Studio, and best of luck for networking at the Step 2024. I think the vibe is really interesting,
It's
isn't
fabulous.
it? Yes,
it's fabulous today. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, love.
Great meeting you.